Okay, so thank you guys so much for hopping on tonight. We have Nikki Johnson hosting, and she is a 13-star diamond. She's a 2-time elite coach. She's a SC10 All-Star legend, and she's on the executive leader rung for the leadership ladder, which is huge. That means does that mean you have 2 organizational leaders underneath you?
You have to have 14 leaders.
14 leaders. Okay. So, very, very cool. She's got a super successful team. In 2015, she was number 19 in the entire company. And right now, she's like in the top 30s. You're kicking butt. So she is going to talk to us tonight. Oh, my gosh. What are you talking to us about? How to create a life first and duplicate success, pregnancy brain. And so she has so many really awesome leaders. I'm going to go ahead and mute everybody. So, Nikki, when you go to talk, just unmute yourself. And so she's going to talk to us about duplicating success, because we were just talking today on our Diamond call about how to get people that want it and how to, get people on board the same way that you are, because it really is hard. You're not going to, find every coach you sign is not going to be just like you, and they don't want it as much as you do. But she is really, really good at making, duplicating her success within her team. So she's going to talk to us about that. And I am just so excited for this call. If any of your team could not make it tonight, share the recording with them. It's going to be awesome. I'm so excited. So go ahead, Nikki, you are muted.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for having me. I had to switch to my hotspot because the hotel wireless kept cutting out. So hopefully this works.
Yeah, you sound much better. I was a little worried.
Okay, good. I was like, Okay, so my name is Nikki Johnson. I have a PowerPoint for you guys, but before I get into sharing that, I just thought I would share a little bit of my story if you don't know my story. So I signed up to be a coach in October of 2013. I had been on my own weight loss journey. So after I have 2 children, and I'm currently pregnant, so I'm having my 3rd. But after my 2nd child, I had about 50 or more pounds to lose, and I was just really struggling with losing that weight. And I really was like frustrated. So, and I had postpartum depression with my 1st child, and between our 2 kids, like my husband and I, we'd gone through multiple layoffs, and I was at the time freelancing. I was just trying to do anything that I could to like make ends meet. And I didn't want to go back to work. I had worked at AOL for many, many years. And I decided I didn't, after I got laid off from there, that I didn't want to go back to corporate America. So like this whole culmination of like getting laid off and my husband looking for a job and me trying to lose weight. So I decided to start blogging about my weight loss because I wanted to hold myself accountable. So every month I would do like a blog post about where I was with my postpartum weight loss. I started around 6 months postpartum. So I did like a 7-month postpartum update. I would put a picture up and say how much weight I'd lost, what I'm eating. Then the following month I did the same thing, and people started watching me, and I would share all my blog posts on Facebook. And there's like a dog fight over here. And so people started watching me. So I just kept sharing it. And I had randomly found T25 through like this illegal fit club in my neighborhood. It wasn't even a coach. It was like a bootleg copy, and they were getting together to do T25. So I decided to join. And I started talking about it on my blog. I was like, I'm doing T25. I had no idea about Beachbody. So about 6 months into my journey, I saw a guy I went to high school with. He started commenting on some of my pictures. So he started showing up more in my newsfeed. And he had quit his job to become a Beachbody coach, a full-time coach. And so that kind of like piqued my interest, because at that time, my husband was going on 9 months of looking for a job and having no luck. So I knew about network marketing. I just never thought that I could be in network marketing. I didn't think it was like, I'm not a seller, like a salesperson. And so he sent me some information, and I don't know, there was just something that in my gut that was like, well, I should just try it and see what it's like. And I actually asked him if I could do it without Shakeology, because I had my own protein shake I was drinking. And he's like, well, let me send you some samples, because it doesn't really work without Shakeology. So I ended up liking it and signing up. And I immediately just decided to ask if anybody wanted to, do a challenge group with me with T25, because he didn't run challenge groups. So I was on my own there. And I got so much interest. I had hit Success Club 16. And so that kind of sets the tone for my business. And I just decided like I was never going to not hit Success Club 10, and I just went from there. And so here I am 3 years later, and it's just been amazing. And it's all, I think, I like to tell that story because I feel like people they compare a lot in this business, but I had like 6 months of being a coach without really being a coach, but I was building that trust and I was doing all the things coaches do. So as soon as I signed up, it was just easier for me to go ahead and have people join me. Whereas if you're just starting your journey and you just signed up to be a coach, it's going to take people needing to watch you and to really see that this is working for you before they decide to say yes. So now I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. If it's going to let me. Okay, here we go. So this little PowerPoint. Come on.
You're so fancy.
I have so many tabs open. Okay. All right. So the first thing I want you guys to do, oh, loading. Oh my God, come on. Okay. So take out a pen and paper, or, your phone, or if you don't have your hands free, then just pretend. And I want you to write down 10 characteristics that you would look for in an ideal coach. So this is just a list that I had created. Driven, coachable, funny, outgoing, confident, caring, positive, consistent, entrepreneur, somebody who has an entrepreneurial spirit. Oh, mosquito. And humble. So just think about those 10 characteristics that you would really want in your ideal coach. And then we're going to just put that to the side, and we're going to come back to that list later. Then I want you to start really thinking about your customer coach avatar. I don't know if you guys have ever done this kind of a exercise, but it's really important that when you're talking on social media, you are talking to one person, and that is your ideal customer or ideal coach. And usually your ideal customer or coach is somebody that was you before Beachbody. Now, this is mine. It needs to be updated. I'm actually in the process of updating it. I made this probably like when I was a newer coach. So my customer coach avatar would be 34 now. And they would be either pregnant or postpartum with number 3. So you really want to spend a lot of time on this, and you really want to talk about who this person is. What are their fears? What are their struggles? So you can look at all of this stuff, like goes to the gym on a regular basis for me time, but is not seeing the results she wants, has put on weight from having children and never lost the initial weight from her first child. So she's frustrated with how much extra she has to lose. These are all things that I struggled with before I became a Beachbody coach. Tired all the time. Portion sizes were like huge. Picked at my kids' food all the time. Didn't want to give up drinking wine. Doesn't like cleaning. Wishes she could afford a housekeeper. So you just really want to think about, you just want to get really in depth. I do this exercise with my coaches, and the first draft is usually very, just like, it's never deep enough. I always have to get them to dig way, way deeper, because the more that you think about that person and the more that you connect with that person, the easier it is for you to make the connection and to sign up customers and coaches and to attract them. Because when you post on social media, you want to think about this person. So every time I'm posting on social media, I'm thinking about Tara. Is this something that Tara would like? Is this something that would benefit her life? So I'm just thinking about her all the time, and thinking about if what I'm putting out there on social media is what is of value to her. And then that's really how you start to really see when like attracts like. And so it's so funny, because there's a lot of coaches on my team that are so much like me, even down to like our kids are the same age, and like they went through postpartum depression too. And it's just like really crazy. Like my elite coach is exactly like me. And it's really because I took the time. It does take time to do this. You're going to need to set aside time to really think about it and dig deep. But it's really, really worth it when you start, because when you have like, if you're marketing to too many people, like you're like, oh, I don't care if it's like a guy or a girl, and I just want to help everybody. It's harder. It's really harder for you to kind of figure out your niche. And it's not to say that you're not going to help somebody that's outside of your niche if they come to you, but this is just really a way to start that attraction marketing. So here you can see some of my posts, and like I said, like attracts like. So how do you do that? You need to make sure that you be your real self. If you're silly and fun, be silly and fun. Add value. So that post in the middle with the 21-day fix containers, that was when it first came out, and like that post got so much engagement, and I just like laid on the carpet and did that. I didn't even think about it. You just really need to stop worrying so much about what other people are thinking about your posts, and just post from your heart and with intention. Because if you do that, you're gonna attract the right people. And if you have people that hate on you for it, then obviously they're not the kind of people that you want in your business. So don't overthink things. Usually when you overthink and try to make your post too perfect, it always bombs. It's always the random ones that you're like, oh, I didn't think that would work. Don't be afraid to post your story over and over again. So people, Facebook doesn't show every single post to all of your friends. So if you feel like, oh, everybody already knows my story, don't think that way, because you never know who hasn't seen it, especially if you're adding to your network and you're adding people every single day. There are people that have not heard your story. So also with that, like a good example of that is when I announced my pregnancy, did this cute little picture with my kids, and it got like over 1,000 likes and like tons of comments. And I was like, oh, everybody has seen this. And then the next couple of days when I was talking about my pregnancy, I would still get people commenting on my pictures like, oh, I didn't know you were pregnant. So, and I was like, how did they not see that post? And it's just because Facebook didn't show it to them. And they were people that I was surprised that didn't see it, because they weren't like people that I never talked to. So you just have to consistently be posting your story, a couple of times a month, I would say. And ask your coach for a social media audit, or your success partners if you feel like maybe, there's something not going well with your Facebook. Like, go to your Facebook page and look, do you have a really nice cover photo that kind of explains a little bit about who you are in your life? Do you have a clear profile picture? Can I go to your profile and scroll a couple times and tell what you have to offer, that you're a coach, that you are into health and fitness? I see too many shares by Beachbody coaches, like sharing things. Just really need to make it like your own little reality show on your Facebook page. If you really struggle with vulnerability and getting vulnerable, because this is something that I really struggled with, and I still think I struggle with it, then I really recommend Brené Brown. She has a really awesome TED Talk, and she has some really great books that really help you get out of that whole, like, I care what other people think kind of mindset. All right, so let's get real. I'm going to kind of talk to you about a couple of things that you already know, but I like to do a gut check with people, because I think that we sometimes slack on our vital behaviors, and sometimes we need a reminder about why they're important. So being a product of the product, are you talking about the products? Are you sharing your progress? And if you are you being too salesy? Are you teaching your coaches the right way to share? So when we look at, ourselves as coaches, and if we want to duplicate our success, we have to be doing the vital behaviors so that we're setting a good example for our coaches, and teaching them how to share our products. So if you, and I am like seriously an exercise ADD person. Like, I don't like to stick to a program. I fall off the wagon all the time. Like literally the 21-day fix extreme was the first program that I finished all the way through. And then I just finished Country Heat all the way through. And that's the only other program that I've finished all the way through. But I'm always sharing my progress wherever I am in my programs. And I love the 3-day refresh for that reason too. But I'm not afraid to put out, my progress photos, and making sure that I'm relatable to my market, because the people who I'm talking to are also people who struggle with sticking to a program. So don't feel like you have to be perfect. Nobody is going to be attracted to a perfect coach. They want to see, vulnerability. They want to see that it's okay to fall off the wagon, that you're a normal person. Personal development, my favorite. So in this business, I think a lot of times when people hit a hard spot in their business, they stop doing personal development, and it's so easy for them to give up. And it's so important that we stick with our personal development and that we are really making sure that our coaches are doing personal development. So confidence is key. No one is going to join you if you don't believe in yourself and if you don't believe in this business. People can tell, even through the computer, if you're not confident. Google should be your best friend. Like I still don't know everything. I had just signed a new coach today and she was like asking me all these questions and I was like, oh gosh, shit, I gotta Google that because I don't know. So just don't be afraid to, Google things and just build your confidence in yourself. Do some daily affirmations if you really feel like your confidence is lacking. Sharing your story is how you connect with people. Getting vulnerable is hard, so personal development helps with that. Like I said before, Brene Brown is really helpful with that vulnerability. And if you have a hard time sharing your story at first, like just do breadcrumbs, like share a little bit at a time until you feel comfortable sharing the whole thing. Personal development also helps us deal with different personalities. When we are signing up different kinds of personalities with either customers or coaches, more so with coaches, we have to remember that not everybody is like us. And personal development has really helped me with that because I'm a very Ruby personality, if you follow the gems. And I was pushing a lot of my coaches the same way I like to be pushed. So I'm like motivated by challenge and by prizes and all that kind of stuff. And so I was trying to motivate my coaches in the same way. And I very quickly had to learn that a lot of them are not motivated in that way whatsoever. And it really helped me become a better coach. And I pretty much can tell now when I'm talking to people what their gem is. And it really helps me be a better coach for that person. And also it helps me because I'm kind of a defensive person. I can get really defensive. And so personal development kind of helps me step back and know that people are coming from, to look at their side, to put myself in their shoes. I'm also a Leo, so that's another explanation. And if you aren't learning, you aren't growing. And this business is about growth. There's a reason why every top coach you talk to has, personal development as a number one thing. Okay, and inviting or connecting every single day. So I like to say connecting because I don't think we should be like going out there and just vomiting on people about joining us, because we need to build that relationship. So I have this little calendar alert that goes off. So every day I reach out to somebody and make sure I actually keep track of people and make sure I'm going to their Facebook and commenting on their pictures. And now I do it on Instagram too. I'm really trying to get into Instagram. But it just really helps build that relationship, and it really helps with making people feel good, because that's what we want. That's what we want. We want people to feel good. And, in this day and age, people can be selfish. So when you go to somebody's page and really take the time to comment on something of theirs, they feel special. They like it. This is an example of just like an invite to somebody who I thought would be a really great coach. I don't send a lot of these, mainly because I'm totally out of my warm market. So I'm dealing with cold market people all the time. But this is somebody who I really admired, and I thought that they would be a great coach. So I just decided to tell them that. People want to hear, sorry, mosquitoes. People want to hear, that you think that they would be good at something. Who doesn't like that? So don't be afraid. If you have like a dream list of coaches, don't be afraid to invite them. Recognition. So we all know these like Success Club boards and the volume boards and the rank advancement, recognition, but there's so many other ways that you can recognize your coaches. Their first challenge pack sale, maybe they posted a vulnerable post, or even just a post that you really liked. Maybe they have their first customer or running their first clean eating group. Whatever it is, recognize it. There's so many ways to make people feel good. And even you can even do your challengers and have little recognition in your challenge groups, and just kind of get that ball rolling for those people who you want to become coaches. If you start recognizing them in the challenge group, and then you recognize them in the team page when they become coaches, and start going from there. And people just love being recognized. It's special. And even people you don't think would like it are going to like it. So, I have a whole list of things that people can be recognized for, like getting back into their pre-pregnancy jeans, or, I don't know, you could come up with anything, really. People are like walking around me, they're like, what are you doing? Okay. So now that you've done your 4 vitals and you're starting to sign coaches, now we want to duplicate all of this stuff. So what is the most important thing that we need to do from the get-go? So we want to get excited and welcome them to the team. So make sure that in your team page or your upline's team page that you're welcoming them in there and sharing a little bit about them. Make sure you send them a welcome email. Sometimes when we have these big teams, I think that welcome email gets lost down somewhere and people stop sending them. So if you aren't sending a welcome email, just maybe ask your upline for an example. This is an example of one that I used to send. I've simplified it a little bit, but you really want to send them something where they know where to start. And you want to make sure that you set up a call with them as soon as possible, because you want to be able to find out their why, what's going to keep them here, have them set goals. So in my GSR, I like to talk about hitting Success Club as your first goal. So you want to talk about Success Club, and then answer any questions. You don't have to have this long GSR call. It just can be really short, but you do want to find out, and you do want to connect with them, and just make sure you answer any of their questions. Also get them in a new coach training as soon as possible. But make sure you're not holding their hand. It's this really fine line that we have, that we need to establish boundaries and make sure that we're not, that we're empowering. And if we are constantly answering every single question the second they ask it, you're not doing them any good. It's really important that you teach them about the FAQs, about Google, and just really being their own resource and making sure that they go out there and find the answers. Because if you keep answering every single question within a really short time period, that's going to set that expectation for them, and they are just going to expect you to answer all of their questions. And that becomes harder with the bigger that your team gets. So set that boundary from the get-go. I know it gets exciting and you just want to help everybody, but really set those boundaries. Okay, creating a team culture. This is really important when it comes to duplication and creating lifers, because most people that stay in this business through the really hard times, it's because of the culture of the team. It's because they have a sisterhood or a family. So do you have your own team Facebook page yet? Even if you don't think that you have enough coaches to have one, if you have just 1 or 2 coaches, you can start your own team Facebook page and just start from there. And it might be quiet in that page, but at least you have a place to start and you can practice. Are you hosting weekly or biweekly calls, even if you only have a small team? So when I was a newer coach, what we would do is we would just get on Zoom and we would all come to the call with 1 win of the week, 1 struggle of the week, and 1 personal development takeaway of the week. And we would just take turns going around the Zoom call talking, and we got really close. And I really think that's a huge reason of how I was able to grow my team so quickly, because we were all just so invested in each other. And we just did that until the team got too big we ran out of room, we ran out of time, we couldn't all get on it. But that's a really great way to do a team call without feeling like you have to, have a training or you have to have guest speakers. Like it just can be you and your team getting on every week and just talking to each other. Are you encouraging self-sufficiency rather than hand-holding? Like I mentioned before, there's that fine line of having people that go out and are go-getters and then holding their hand. So you really want to find that balance. It can take some time, but really it's worth it if you set those boundaries. Now, like the coach that I signed today, she's called me 3 times today, and I'm like, not answering, I'm at dinner, like I can't, but I think maybe 2 years ago, I probably would have answered every single phone call. But I don't want to set that precedence. I don't want her to think that every time she calls me, I'm going to answer. Are you leading by example? So are you doing the vitals? Are you doing everything that you are saying? So you need to make sure that you are leading by example for your team. Personalities. Okay, so like I said earlier, the gems and why they're so important. If you don't know them, I think, April, you do the gems because we've talked about this before. I would really get to know them. I have a quiz on my blog. I can send you the link. So, because some people look at this and they're like, oh, I'm a pearl. I like to help everybody. But everybody has a little bit of pearl in them. We're all Beachbody coaches, we all want to help people, but that's not necessarily going to be your gem. So if you kind of don't really know and you're just guessing, take the quiz. It's a little bit long, but it's totally worth it. I have all of my new coaches take it so I can, know what they are. And then just really start trying to implement them and remembering, because it's really hard to, remember that people are not just like us. Like my husband, for example, is an emerald. So he and I butt heads a lot, but at the same time, he has taught me a lot, and I've learned a lot from him. So it's just really interesting. And you could use like the color code, and there's Personality Plus, and there's some other ones. Okay, so this is a little bit of a reality checklist. I got this list from a couple of different places and compiled it. But if you are struggling in this business and you feel like giving up or feel like you can't, like your team isn't doing well, like I want you to go through this checklist and answer these questions. Are you doing the vitals every single day? Are you posting 3 to 5 times a day in social media or on social media? Are you being salesy? If you are you trying to sell other products? Like I see some coaches trying to be in multiple network marketing companies. Like that does not work because people just think you're trying to sell them something. You need to really be connected to what you want to sell. Are you posting your link or stock images? People want to see you. They don't want to see a picture of Shakeology. Do you have a transformation? Are you running monthly challenge groups? And going back to the transformation, it doesn't have to be a physical transformation. I mean, there's so many other kinds of transformations we get from this business, whether it's emotional, can be financial, even if it's just a little bit. If you're hitting Success Club, you're at least making some money, and that can make a difference in people's lives. So make sure you're talking about the transformation, no matter what kind of transformation it is. We're all growing, becoming coaches, whether it's physical or mental or whatever. So talk about it. And running monthly challenge groups, it's so important. If you aren't running challenge groups, then, what are you inviting people to? Are you hitting Success Club every month? We know that Beachbody has invested tons of money into research that shows that people who hit Success Club are successful in this business and build their business. So it's a non-negotiable. Are you joining team calls? Obviously, if you're here, you are. Yay. Are you listening to the National Wake Up Call? I know it's not at the most convenient time, but there's a podcast. I like to listen to it when I'm folding laundry. So there's always a way to listen to it. Are you sharing stories and getting vulnerable? Have you finished a training? So sometimes we have, these trainings, and you get in there and you're really excited about these trainings. Maybe it's a Push to Diamond training. And then after the first week, you just check out and don't finish. Like you need to finish those trainings. You need to do the homework if there is homework. I'm getting so many bugs. Are you engaged every day? Checking into the team page, checking in with your coaches. My first trimester of this pregnancy, I really checked out, and my team was so affected, and it's my fault. I was very sick, but I should not have let it be an excuse. But when I wasn't engaged, like my team wasn't engaged. Are you addressing your fears and stepping outside of your comfort zone? We have to get uncomfortable if we want to be successful. We have to post those pictures of ourselves that we hate. We have to talk about the shitty things in our life that we hate to talk about. It's just all about stepping outside your comfort zone. But when you do that, that's when you connect with people. Like when I started talking about my postpartum depression, that's when I started getting so many women coming to me and thanking me for talking about it and saying, I so relate to your story. This is exactly what happened to me. So don't be afraid to step outside your comfort zone. Sometimes you just have to press post and then just walk away from the computer for a while and come back to it. But at least get it out there. Do you have a clear understanding of your story? So maybe you need to flesh it out with somebody and kind of figure out what parts of your story are most important. I had this big part of my story where I had a massive pulmonary embolism and I almost died. But for me, that part of my story, I don't know. I can't explain it. I don't share it a lot not because I'm uncomfortable with it, but I just don't think it doesn't make sense in my story about, being a mom, going through postpartum and losing my weight. That just is a random part of my story that happened before I had kids. So maybe you have parts of your story that just don't really make sense for really sharing. I mean, I don't not share it. I talk about it. I'm on blood thinners right now. I take shots every day and I talk about it, but it's not something that other people connect with. Have you written out your goals and shared them? Making goals is so important in this business, and sharing them is even more important. And don't be afraid to share them with your team. Like if you have a goal to hit diamond, you need to tell your team because they are going to help you get to diamond. And same with, star diamond and so on. Don't be afraid to share those goals with people and it makes them real. Are you tracking your business? So when we track, we can figure out where we need to go. We can figure out what's going right and what's going wrong. So make sure you're taking the time to track, like how many people are you inviting every day? Like where are your Success Club numbers at every month? What's your volume like? What's your income? Because, this business is slow and sometimes we just feel like we're spinning our wheels. And if we track, we can kind of see, oh, I am growing. Like I did make more money at this point than this last point, or I did hit higher Success Club numbers because, oh look, I invited more people. So really tracking really helps, and I hate tracking. I'm totally not a spreadsheet kind of person, but it really is important, especially because we have to treat this like a real business. I mean, it is a real business, but like if you had a restaurant, you would be tracking all of your stuff too. And are you digging into your why? Why did you sign up to be a coach? Why are you here? Why are you doing this? And it can't be a superficial why, because then that's not going to hold you here. It has to be really important. For me, my why when I started was to retire my husband, and it fueled me so much. I just did not stop until it happened. And so your why can change, but just figure out what it is. And when you hit that hard spot, or where you feel like people are just returning challenge packs and nothing's happening, but you're like, but I'm here because my kids, I want to be home with my kids, or I want to buy my dream house, or whatever it is, that's going to keep you engaged. Okay, so take out that list that we started with in the beginning of the call, that ideal coach characteristics, and I want you to write down a number next to them of 1 through 10. And that number needs to be where you are on that scale. So if you're driven, put a 10. If you're, so I rated myself. On this scale. So I wanted to attract all of these people. But if I'm only, a 7 at consistency, I'm never going to attract somebody who's a 10 at consistency. Because you will never attract a coach who is better than you. So just think about that for a second. Like, you can't just keep signing people up thinking I'm gonna get the next Melanie Mitro. But if you're not as good as Melanie Mitro, you're never going to attract somebody that is as good as Melanie Mitro. So when you make this list of people that you really want, you have to look at yourself and look inward and say, where can I improve and where can I do better so that I can attract these better people. So that's a really eye-opening exercise, I think, because sometimes we just need to figure out what, realistically, we have to have gut checks. We have to say, am I doing everything that I should be doing as a coach? Am I being consistent? It's what I'm doing today, what I would want my coaches to be doing. If you're just scrolling on Facebook and you're like, oh, I'll do my workout later. Would you want your coach to be like that? And if you wouldn't, then don't do it. So I wanted to leave you with this quote: what we want for others doesn't work unless they want it for themselves. So sometimes at the end of the day, you cannot force people to do what they don't want to do. Do not waste time on coaches who just are going to suck the life out of you and not meet you halfway. You have to have coaches that will meet you halfway and that want this, because even if you see potential in them, it's not going to help you if they don't want it. And it's hard to let that go, but there are people out there who want this and who don't even know they want it yet because they don't know about it. And you just have to keep going out there and finding those people. Because if you just stay with the same people and pull and pull and pull, you're going to burn yourself out and they're never going to come. So my favorite quote ever from my coaches is, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't force it to drink. So that is, I think that's all. That was my last slide, I think. Yes.
Nikki, I love that. I love it all. I took so many notes because on my diamond call today, I was really just, I like felt like I needed to apologize to them afterwards. I am just so like, I feel like I'm so beaten down and just stressed out. And I just was looking at it as you were talking, and I'm like, do you know why? It's because I'm not doing everything that I need to be doing. So I love like those gut check kind of things, because I know that there's so much more that I could be doing, but also not that like you need to be doing more, just focusing in on the important things. Like when I get stressed out, I used to post in our team page, like, and they can tell you, I used to be so annoying. I used to post like 17 times a day, and they'd be like, April, I can't even, like, I do not know. And I was so like gung-ho. So then I tried to find a happy ground. And then some days I'm like, oh, I haven't even like checked in with them today. So, and that has like never happened in the whole time being a coach until literally up until about this month, maybe a little bit of last month. So for me, I'm like, you can't be sitting here like stressed out that, you know, things aren't going your way if you're not doing those things that you need to be doing. So I love all of those gut check things. And if you could definitely share the link to the GEMS test on your blog, I would love that, because I just have a document and Rachel said that she wasn't able to download it. I don't know if it's formatted weird or what, but that would be awesome. Yes. So yes, thank you so much. I love so much of it. Would you guys, what questions do you have for Nikki? Anything that kind of hit home with you guys that, no questions, you're good?
I had to put my Lumi case on because it's so dark out here.
I did a live event and it was like outside, and it seriously looked like I was like in the Blair Witch Project, because I was like so dark. But I think this was perfect, especially I feel like it came at such a good time of the year, because September's hard. September's really hard for everybody. You know, everybody has their struggles this month, and I've had a lot of people like, I'm trying so hard and I'm getting nowhere. Like volume is down on a whole within the company. We're really kind of hoping, you know, that we have something else, maybe leadership, maybe they'll hear that something else is being released. But Court of Force is coming out when in November? Does anybody know when in November exactly? November 1st?
I think so, yeah. I think it's
okay. All right. So yeah, so what, and are you doing anything with Court of Force? Are you guys doing the Beachbody On Demand group or anything with that?
Who, me?
Yeah.
I want to, like, I saw that conversation today, and I've just been like today on my phone the whole time. I don't work very well from my phone.
Right.
So yeah. I just need to catch up with that idea, because I think it's I did that for Country Heat, and I hit, you know, I had a really good Country Heat launch. So I think the struggle for me with Court of Force is that I'm going to be so pregnant when it comes out, and probably same for you. Like, you're going to be like having a baby.
No.
So it's going to be interesting. Yeah. I just have to figure out a good way to, like, I mean, that's why I'm glad they had the sneak peek, because I can do it and show, like, hey, I'm pregnant, I did it, like, there's a modifier, you know, I couldn't do everything, you know, that they were doing, but like the jumps, I'm like, I can't.
Yeah. Can you go over really quickly, like kind of what you did? We did really well with the Country Heat launch, because for the first time ever, I kind of shared with them what I was doing. I feel like in the past, I was just like, oh, this is what I'm doing, go me. And then I was like, you can't do that. Like, so we did really well with doing like a live event and sneak peeks and stuff. So do you want to just kind of share really quickly with us to give us tips for Court of Force, what your team does with like how you did the Country Heat launch?
Yeah, so I actually recommend them all running their own private, like I don't do it in an event, I do it in a private group, okay. Like anybody who's interested in it. And then I just every day am like hyping it up, like sharing the before and afters from the test group, talking about the program. And the reason I do that, and I want my coaches to do their own, is because when it's launch day, I can just post my link and not worry. I don't have to worry about anybody else's customers purchasing from me. Like, it's just my customers. So, but I do like the live thing. I don't think I went live at all. Oh, actually I think I went live in my group. I can't remember. But I'm not really good at launches. And so that's with Country Heat. I really wanted to make sure that I was good with them, because they sneak up on me and I'm like, oh, I didn't talk about it, you know? And so I'm really, with Country Heat, and I think I did that because I was excited for myself. Selfishly, I was like, because I was really slacking with my workouts and I was just waiting on that program. And so
Right.
It's perfect for pregnant women. So, so I'm really trying to be better about prepping for those, even if, because I think the biggest mistake we can make is saying it's not for my market.
Mm-hmm.
Because I did that with hardcore. I did that with hardcore.
Yeah.
22-minute hardcore. I don't think I sold like maybe 1 or 2 challenge packs with that, but I ended up kind of liking it, and so I just think I don't want to make that mistake again and say it's because this kind of, I was like, man, it's my market, but it's fun. It's like,
Yeah.
So.
And there's just plenty of people that need it. So I just tell people, and that was actually me with the 22-minute hardcore. And I didn't finish it. I really did not like it at all. And I had like 4 people that were like, they bought it because I was like excited about it. When I tried it live, it was so much fun, but just doing it every day, I just wasn't crazy about it. I had like 4 clients that didn't love it either, but I'm like, oh, that's okay. It was only $10. Like, and you got, a sandbag out of it. Let's just find you another program. So, you never know, but I think that don't decide for them. Same thing as like, don't not invite somebody to coach because you never know, it might be for them.
Right.
So perfect. Does anybody have any other questions while she's here? Okay. All right. Well, I'll let you go. I know you have a ton of stuff to do. You got to go back to your babies and your hotel, and the mosquitoes are out to get you.
I hope you're asleep. I was like, bye, Ben. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we could have rescheduled. You're so sweet for doing that. I'm sorry.
I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, there you go.
Okay. So, well, yeah, thank you so much for doing that. I saw that post. I didn't even like think about it. Yeah, I definitely could have had you reschedule. So I'm sorry. And I really appreciate you.
I hate rescheduling because I hate when people do it to me. So I was like, oh, I'll be fine. Like, I'll find the conference center. All the hotels have the conference centers. There's just like 2 desks in the middle of the lobby. I was like, are you? I was like, of course this would happen today.
That's so funny.
10 minutes before the call.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And we will talk to you. I'll see your face again on Monday. And I hope everything goes well. I'll be praying for you guys. And thank you guys so much for hopping on. I will post this recording. Make sure that you tag your coaches in it because this was awesome. And please do your coach and client avatar. I'm going to sit down and do mine now so I don't forget. And your 10 characteristics. So write those down and then rate them and see where you kind of, need work on, and really take the time to do your customer coach avatar. And I think that's a really, really great thing to share with your new coaches so they understand how to post. It was probably my favorite thing. I love, love, love that. So thank you again. And you guys have a great night.
Bye.
Bye.